Hello and welcome to this video on creating Choropleth maps for Egypt. We would be using these packages, and if you don't have them installed, you can use this script for installing the packages one by one. And I'm going to use the shape files from this website, which has various shape files. We'll be interested in the ADM1 and ADM2 level shape files. So you can simply download them as a zip file. Once you open the zip files, you would end up with various files in there, and one of them is the actual .shape file. I'm reading the first level ADM1 level shape files into shape 1, and I'm using the ADM2 level shape file into shape 2. So with that, if I run this and load all the packages, and if I run this to get the data for the shape 1 and shape 2, here's our first chart. I'm going to use the shape 1 file, which is the ADM1 level boundaries. And all you need to give is geom_sf. Very simple script, and it will give you something like this. Now, we know that there are 27 different governorate areas in Egypt map, and we can also confirm that by having a look at the structure of the shape1 file. You can see there are 27 different rows, which actually give you ADM1 reference names. So these are the governorate areas which we're going to plot. So let's do that. And in this one, I've actually made some changes. I want to fill different colors for each shape based on the ADM1 reference. And I'm using a theme map because in the previous one you saw that the chart has all this information which we don't want. And I don't want to see the legend on the right hand side or anywhere. So I'm saying legend.position equals none. And I'm going to use, let's run it. So here is our chart. We have filled it by the ADM1 reference. If I put this as right, you would get all these names on the right hand side. So instead of using the legend, I would like to use this command. So it's the geom label repel command from the GGPLOT package. So if I run everything together, we get the names, and it actually gives a nice line also. If you don't want to use the labels, you can also use the text. If I run this one, you would get the text instead of the actual label. Now let's create some Choropleth map, or basically heat maps based on the 27 governorate areas. So let's say if we had some fictitious sales data for all these areas, I've created another column in the shape1 file called sales, and I've given 27 different values to represent each area. And now all I'm saying is, with the sales data into the system, I'm going to use that, and I'm going to fill my boundaries based on the numerical values of the sales. So I'm saying fill equals sales. In the earlier example, I was using the fill equals the actual area. So instead of the area, we don't want to do it by area. This time we want to do it by the actual sales. And basically this is what a Choropleth map is. You are creating a heat map based on some numerical values. And I've actually used the scale fill where it is continuous and with option D. And then similarly, we have all the labels coming up. So I'll get rid of this and run it. You would see that now we have the sales being represented on the map with different colors. So this area seems to be having the highest sales because it's in yellow, and so on. Now we want to plot the second shape which we created. This shape file 2 has large number of rows. It has 365 different areas or shapes. So let's see what it does for us. And I'm just going to run it. So instead of using the shape 1, I'm saying shape 2. If I run it, it's going to take some time. And here is the result. We have large number of information in there. so many labels that you can't even see the chart. So that's not the way to do. Let's do a selective labeling. So instead of labeling each and everything, let's say we want to just label the area as one. So in this case, I'm using a slightly different technique. So see how the data is defined in the ggplot. Normally this is inherited by all other commands. So for example, when I'm using the geom_sf, I didn't really have to specify data equals shape2 because it's actually taking the data from this. And similarly, the repel command or the label command was also picking the data from the same. So see that we didn't provide any data field here because the data was being used from ggplot. So ggplot is supplying the data to all these commands, to this and to this. But if you wanted to override it, we can override it by specifying saying data is now going to be only these records. So it's going to plot all the areas, but when it comes to labeling, the data is coming from this. It'll only have the labels for these areas. If I run it together, you will see what I mean. So it has plotted the chart, but only labeled the area for the AS1 region. I hope you found this technique useful and practical. Thank you very much for watching it, and I'll see you in the next one.